let me give you just kind of an overview of who I am, kind of where I came from. I have been an entrepreneur, business owner most of my life. I've spent time here and there working for other companies, but for the most part, I've been an entrepreneur. I like businesses. I like being in business for myself, and you know, over the course of my career, I've trained a lot of people, and one of the things that I picked up on years ago is empowering people to do things for themselves. As an employer, it's good for me and it's good for them that I give them the tools in order for them to succeed. And so it's kind of been a kind of a win-win situation. Through all this, over the last 40 some odd years, I've battled alcoholism at its worst. I grew up in a family that was highly dysfunctional. It was a highly charged dysfunctional family. Both my parents were alcoholics, and at least for my younger sister and I, we had a real hard time getting through life. There were times that the fighting was so bad we'd put cans in front of the doors in our rooms at night. We didn't know what was going to happen. And I'm not going to get into a lot of that, but there, you know, a lot of bad things happened over the years. And in fact, it got me out of the house at about 17 years old and moving in with some friends. So, but, you know, I battled alcoholism over the years, and I'm kind of a man of the 70s, and back in the 70s, the term mental illness was just kind of a taboo thing. We never talked about it, and so most of the time people didn't do anything about it. You know, they didn't want to admit they had a mental illness because this was kind of a taboo subject. And so over the years, I had brief moments of sobriety, but each time that I went back to drinking, it was heavier. It was and it got to be, each time I quit and went back, it just got worse each and every time. And so at one point in time, I went and saw a psychiatrist who's actually now the chief medical officer for Optum, Dr. Berlant, and he diagnosed me with PTSD. And it's not a war-type PTSD, but if you lived in my household, it was a war-type PTSD. And so, you know, and the reason I went to see him was on the advice of an attorney, because I had some legal problems with the DUI, and so, you know, we were trying to figure out a plan for me to skate through as softly and as uninterrupting in my business as possible, because at that time I owned a commercial flooring company that you know, was doing quite well, and to spend time in prison or jail would have been, you know, not good. So, you know, over the years, the addiction ran through my family. In fact, I have two sisters, older sisters, that have both passed away with substance abuse issues. And my younger sister, she had her major problem. She's been clean and sober now for, I don't know, 15, 16 years. She's doing really well. But my story kind of begins in my recovery story September 3rd of 2020. And I was a senior project manager and senior estimator at Western Wholesale Flooring downtown. Some of you may know who they are and where it's at. And so I was there for a couple of years, but I had gone through a divorce in April of 2019, and I just, with all that going on, the drinking got worse and worse and worse. And to give you an idea how bad it was at Western, I would get 2 bottles of Gatorade, 32 ounce, and I wouldn't drink the half of the Gatorade. I'd pour half the Gatorade down the drain to fill it up with vodka to have it, and that's what got me through the day. And I did that for a year and a half. Well, it got to the point where September 3rd of 2020, I decided I was going to quit drinking. And I was staying at the Metropolitan Inn downtown. It's a real nice luxury hotel. Not really. Anyway, so I was staying at the Metropolitan Inn, but I decided to quit. And my first day was, I I don't know how I made it through, but I made it through. I smoked, I couldn't light a cigarette, I couldn't drink a cup of coffee, I was shaking so bad, and the next day was even worse. And by September 6th, I started to feel pretty good, or feel like a human again about 10 o'clock that night, so I picked up a little bit. Oh, there we go. So I picked up a little bit, and I went up the trash, and I looked over and I saw two friends there, and I walked over to them, and just as I got to them, I went into a grand mal seizure. So quitting drinking, as much as I was drinking, which the big gallon bottles, I was doing about one of those every day and a half for 6 months prior to that, I went into a grand mal seizure. They caught me. On my cell phone, I have a picture of a big rock. It's a rock in front of the Metro, because if they hadn't been there, I'd have went face down right into the rock. So they get me inside. I don't have a video here, but I've got a video of that too. I went into convulsions. I was convulsing. I don't remember this one, but I was convulsing for probably about 10, 15 minutes. And the only way that they got one guy there, his name is Dan, and he was clean and sober, but he knew what I was going through. He knew a guy there at the Metro that had vodka, so he went and got me some vodka. And so September 6th was my last drink, because he gave me that vodka because I was tremoring so bad. September 7th, I get up, feel pretty good, have some coffee, went outside, smoked a cigarette, came back in, bam, hit the bed, and I went back into another seizure, except this time I was alone. And this time I was cognizant. And this time I could see my cell phone, but I couldn't do anything about it. I don't know if you've ever seen anybody convulse. I grew up, my mother had epilepsy, and so I was used to that. And so I thought, this is it, I'm done. And when I came out of it, I picked up the phone and I called Odyssey House. And they got me a bed there the following Wednesday, and they got me a bed there, I think it was September 15th. And by the grace of God, I stayed sober for that week. In fact, I spent a lot of time down at AA Central with all the old timers down there, and it's funny because I told them what I was going to do, and I was going into Odyssey House, and they said, "Ooh, I heard that's hard." And I got thinking about it. I said, "Well, 40 years of in and out of alcoholism and being an alcoholic," and I said, "That's probably what I need." Well, quickly through Odyssey House, I was there for 4 months. Well, first of all, in orientation, I'm in a house. You got to keep in mind, I'm in a house with people that are, most of them court ordered, but I self-committed. So I'm in there with a lot of people between the ages of 18, 19 to 25, 30, and there's 25, 28 people in the house, and I'm there 2 weeks in orientation, waiting to move to I ended up at the Lighthouse on 3rd South and 745 East. But I ended up there, and but before I got there, COVID had hit, everything Zoom, and I told a friend of mine that I met there, and we befriended, and he was in his mid-30s, and I just said, "Ben," I said, I'm packing up, I'm leaving, I'm not court ordered, I'm gone, I can't take this. And he talked me into, he said, "Just hold on, we'll get to a permanent location." So that day, in fact, it was the next day that John Clapp from Odyssey House, Lighthouse, called me up. We had our Zoom meeting. And I remember specifically that as soon as I got done with that meeting, all I could think about was, this is where I need to be. I need to be here now. And so I go through the program, and I went into the program with, I went and committed. I went and committed to change. I didn't care what, and Odyssey makes it hard. They put the pressure, but it's pressure in a controlled they want to see how you react, but and we're going to talk a little bit about planning, and I'm not going to get into the rap, but they kind of have their own rap, and it's hard. It's hard, and you got to put up with things, but then you got to learn how to deal with them on a sober level, And I'll admit, the first couple weeks there, when I went over to Odyssey, it was a change, but anyway, I'm alive today because of Odyssey. So I'm 4 months into Odyssey. I'm just about ready. I'm 2 days away from leveling up. I'm the Compass senior there. I'm running all the compasses, and I'm about ready to level up and then start looking for, housing and getting my Voyager plan and moving on. January 4th, 2021, and I missed the insurrection, and darn it, I don't know what's going on in these court trials. No, so January 4th, I wake up and feel good. And do we have a clicker?
No, I'm the clicker.
Oh, Daniel. January 4th, go ahead and click one more time. January 4th, I got this pain in my stomach. And I went to the house manager there and I said, something's wrong. I said, I need to get to the hospital. I need to go. So, long story short, they took me to University of Utah Hospital. This was January 4th, and I was scheduled to level up on Insurrection Day. And they got me to the curb. They put me in the back of an SUV, and I was balled up in the back, and they got me to the curb. And the last thing I remember is that getting into a wheelchair at the curb until February 2nd. I went into a coma. I went in septic shock. And this is after 4 months at Odyssey House. And so this is a picture my sister took of me during that 3-week period and what I was hooked up to. There's not one of my doctors that thought I was going to make it. And so, but I'm here today. And, so what I want to talk today is about empowerment. There's a short little video here, 4 minutes, right after I talked about this. But empowerment, everybody, has their idea of what empowerment is. And to me, it's the degree of autonomy that I have as a person, and knowing, what power I have to determine how my life moves forward, and I can do, I can design my life as I please, and act on my own authority. And that's what empowerment is, I believe. It's giving a person the power to make those choices for their life with direction. I think as CPSSs, while I was at Odyssey, there were CPSSs there, and while I was at Odyssey, that's all, this is what I knew, this is what I wanted to do. And when I was in the hospital for 7 months, 4 months at University of Utah, and then 3 months in skilled nursing. I had to learn to walk, I had to learn to talk, I had tracheotomy, so all these things. But as this video, and I hope we can get it up here, talks about, is it doesn't matter where you're at in addiction, it's never too late, and if you wake up in the morning, you're still in the game. But the CPSS is there. I just thought the whole time I was in the hospital, and I kept contact with John over at Odyssey and Cheryl Chivers, I don't know, you may know her, she's the administrator for Odyssey, and so I kept in contact with these people, and one thing I said, I want to get certified as a CPSS, and I went through DMA, AHS, whatever, and I called people and trying to get this, and finally on my birthday, April 4th, in fact, I talked to Lisa, and this is the best birthday I've ever had in my entire life, because on my birthday, April 4th, I got an email from Lisa, congratulations. So I started doing this. I got out of the hospital in August of 2021, and I started doing this right 1st of September. I was like trying to get in. So, but does anybody have any feelings on empowerment? Is that, what would you, how do you see empowerment for yourself or others?
So, I know for me, so when I go into my office every morning, all the ladies, when I see good morning, beautiful lady, how are you? Because I feel like that empowers people.
Yeah.
I know for me, when I look in the mirror, I see something totally different than what other people see.
Yeah, and it's and making I think that's a big part of our job, and it's a real key to success in recovery is feeling empowered. We've been through it, and and we're going to talk about this in just a couple minutes, but some examples I see for CPSS, and if anybody wants to add anything, please do, because this being a CPSS is a continuum. It's a constant continuum of learning and getting new ideals and stuff, or ideas. And so I'd look, there's some examples involving peers, your peers in their personal decision, empowerment, their personal decisions for their growth. Of course, training and materials that we have access to. I'm still migrating through a system. I qualified for Social Security on my last birthday, so I'm still, migrating through this system is not easy. And I'm finding things that through Optum and other things that, hey, that I have available to me that I'm just finding out. But to me, that's power. That's knowledge is power in order to give that information to other people. Yes.
I think empowerment, like for me, I was in active addiction for 3 decades. So
I know the
I'm
feeling.
one of those older generation people that it was a lifetime for me. And I think being able to inspire others and connect with them on such a deep level in so many areas is really important. Love it.
Yeah, and you're right, and everybody's heard the old adage that nobody's going to tell you to quit. I mean, you got to want to quit. You got to want to do it on your own. The way I did it, I would not advise that to anybody, because medical treatment, I'm lucky to be alive. And the septic shock I went into 4 months later maybe had something to do with all this. The way I did it, and so, yeah, no. And knowing what I know now and going through Cpss training, becoming certified, and the things I learned through Optum is, hey, I could have done this. I could have gone this direction. I could have gone that direction. So these are important things that people, and had I known that, it would have empowered me even more. But, as it turns out, I was empowered enough. I found my way.
Empowered the same way you did.
Yes.
I was shot 8 times, so I should have been better.
Yeah. So anyway, and then, prior allowing autonomy and decision making, let them be their guide. Give them the flexibility for change. And, one of the things I thought of is creating wow moments, And Odyssey did it in, write-ups and things like that, or what they called strokes at Odyssey House. And those are, your kind of wow moments. And so it's kind of a build-up. And this guy, Les Brown, go home, get on Google Les Brown watching. And I watch this, I'm just like, yeah, if anybody's played sports, or if they've had a coach or a trainer that gets in your face, this is a kind of get in your face kind of guy, but it's done with love and it's done with a purpose. So it's about 4 minutes long. Let's watch this and talk about it a little bit and then move on, because I think I can get through all of this.
You thought you was just gonna have a dream and a goal, and you were just gonna wake up and just walk into the sunset. You're like, dream, boom. It don't work like that. You have a dream, and then life punks you. Life punks you and say, do you really want this? I'm gonna give your wife MS. Do you really want this? 5 of your aunts gonna die of cancer. Do you really want this? You gonna lose friends. Do you really want this? Do you really want this? Cousins gonna abandon you. People that you used to be like this with gonna think you bougie and don't wanna deal with you. It's a part of it, but I paid too much. And so I'm telling y'all, you have come too far to quit now. You have invested too much to quit now. You have lost too much to quit now. Get a reward for your pain. Don't cry about it. Get a reward for it.
We are still here. We are still in the game. We have not been defeated. So stand up straight. Stand up straight and march forward. And give someone else some encouragement. Let them see you standing strong. Set an example. And by our very posture, by our very being, we will let the world know that we are here to win.
You have absolutely nothing to do with what happened to you. It's not your fault. But if I come back a week later, you still on the ground. If I come back a year later, you still on the ground, that's your fault. If you get knocked down, there's nothing you can do about it. But getting back up has every single thing to do with you. And you will promise me that from this day forward, you will not be defeated. I need you to make up in your mind that the only way you can lose is if you quit. I just need you to keep going.
You don't even know how creative you are until you run out of options. I am excited about your future because your darkness is about to be your development.
Now listen to me. I don't care what you're going through. If you're not dead, he ain't through with you yet. As long as you waking up, you still in the game. As long as you alive, you can still make it happen. As long as that breath in your nostrils move, you still in the game. You still can win. Now get your butt up. Why do you keep crying? Why me, God? Why did I get MS? Why did I get cancer? Why did my mama die? Why did I get fired? Listen, you got put through that because what that does, that tension produces greatness. Stop running from it and run to it.
Lions don't cry. Lions don't give up. Lions don't quit. Lions hunt. That's what we do for a living. We turn tragedy into triumph.
This has been a dog fight. But I made up in my mind, I will not go through this pain and not get a reward for it. I will not quit. I will not surrender. I will outlast every trial and every tribulation that comes in my life. And sometimes if you're going to be successful, it's not how smart you are. It's not how strong you are. It's how much you can outlast stuff. If you're ready to quit, don't get started. If you're looking for this easy path, don't get started. If you think they're not going to close the door on you and say no a million times, don't get started. But every time they close the door, I just get excited. Why? Because I am not a no. I'm one yes away. You can't keep telling me no forever. You can't keep denying me forever. This type of energy, this type of passion, you can't stop it.
So this Les Brown, he's got other videos up there too. And when I first saw this, I was like, you know, this kind of emulates the Cpss. I mean, you know, I don't want to suggest getting in somebody's face like that. But the thing of it is, it's the spirit behind it. And that's, you know, and I got thinking, that's what I want to do. I want to lift people. And, you know, and the way, we're going to look at this in a second, but the way that the way that I see it, and I may be wrong, but I've become a CPSS. I want to create CPSSs. I want people in this our community, our industry, whatever you want to call it. And I was listening to Ryan, you know, and if nobody knows that I'm extremely political, I am far from apolitical. And so I'm taking notes there because I know how to get to legislators and that. There's money that needs to be spent here. I mean, we got money going, the government's got money going from one thing to another, but I just envision CPSSs, certified peer support specialists, everywhere. I mean, and this country needs it. I mean, at this time, I was blown away by the numbers Ryan was putting out there, and that's why I wrote them down, because it's just, I work a little bit with Mike Lee's campaign, and I just gave my affiliate. But anyway, the point is that those people, you know, if you get their ear working on a campaign or something, you got their ear, well, hey, they're lawmakers, and you know, that's a thing in itself to migrate through. So what I want to talk about now is this Randolph's empowerment model. So what this is, I use this, and you'll notice managers, employees, and stuff. I've used this for years. But I looked at it, and it's kind of a model because, you know, with Randolph, he made the argument years ago that when managers and peers share vital information with their employees who are peers in an effort to empower them, then the employees/peers will feel a sense of trust. It'll enhance their willingness to use their knowledge, experience, and motivation in pursuit of their organizational, and change that word to recovery goals. And so this model, go ahead and go to the next slide. So this model it's a good model to go by. It kind of simplifies things, and you know, with anything else, you start with a plan. And you know, if you notice in this empowerment plan, I've got RAP, which we're not going to talk about, and there's reasons for that. RAP is very, RAP is wellness recovery action plan, but they've they don't want you out there telling everybody you know how to do a RAP plan before you go through their certification. And there's a waiting list, because I looked at it, and there's a waiting list, and you got to do a seminar 1, seminar 2, and then, but the first one is they want you using the RAP plan for 6 months. And so, in an effort for my own benefit, and that, I'm looking at other ideas, and I came up, has anybody ever heard of a bujo? This is a bujo. This is a bullet journal. So I started doing some investigating, and for years I've been using Daytimer, and then when Franklin Day Planner came out, I started using that, and I saw this, and I'm going, where has this been all my life? So the first thing, I'm going to run through these. We're going to see another really short video, and you can get online to thebulletjournal.com and watch more. This is the best thing I've ever seen in my entire life, and I will never buy another day planner the rest of my life. And like I say, I still use Google Calendar to schedule things because it crosses over and integrates with my emails and things like that, but I still use that. But this is as it says here, it's a mix of a daily planner, to-do list, and diary. And it's analog journaling that you do. It's your book, it's your plan. You put whatever you want in there. It's easy, and if you run out of page, go get another book. I had this laying around my office, so I made it mine. In fact, Lisa and Robin, this was something I picked up at the certification class. Peer advocates are like turtles. They are hard on the outside and soft on the inside. They know that change happens slowly, and then you have to stick your neck out sometimes to make it happen. See, so I'm making this book. We're going to talk about the index. I put it up front here, and I'll just show it. But so it's basically this. You got an index page up front. You have your task list, notes, facts, ideas. These are all this goes in your legend up front. And he's going to talk about it right now in this video. It's a quick, short video, so pay attention right now, because when I click this, it starts. There's no dead time. Oh, wait, I got to go through this. This is how you make it. This is how you make it your own. So this is somebody's bullet journal, what they call bujo, not to be confused with Cujo. But you can be creative. So, if you notice, some people a little more technical. This person likes sticky notes, and I've got sticky notes that I'll transport in my bujo. I like a bujo. And then, you can design it any way you want. I'm not this artistic, so I design it, it works for me. So here, this Ryder is going to go through this real quick.
Track of the things we do, want to do, have done, things we ate, miles we've run, ideas we had, it gets out of control. There are plenty of apps for that, but I needed a system flexible enough to handle whatever it is I threw at it, and fast enough that it would never get in the way. Hi, my name is Ryder, and this is a brief overview of bullet journaling. It's an analog system I devised that will help you track the past, organize the present, and plan for the future. Sound good? Let's go. The first thing you want to do is create an index page. This page will help you find your entries, but more on that later. Turn to your first blank spread. This is your monthly calendar. Add the name of the month on both pages. The left will be your actual calendar. Write down all the dates of the month on the left. Then add the first letter of the days next to the dates. The right page is your task list. It will list all the things that you need to get done. Left of each task, add a task bullet, which is simply an empty checkbox. Now that you've finished setting up your month, flip back to the index and add the month with its page numbers. Over time, this will help you organize your bullet journal. Once you're done adding the month to the index, go to the next available spread. This will be your daily calendar. Every day, write down the things you need to get done as they happen. Don't worry if you miss a couple days here and there. The bullet journal gets its name from the bullets. There are three main kinds: tasks, events, and notes. Tasks you've already seen. Events are signified by a circle, and notes with a dot. They will help you log different kinds of data quickly and distinguish between them. To give a bullet priority, simply place a star to the left of it. When you're done with a task, just check off the box. If a bullet becomes irrelevant, just strike it through. As you log events, be sure to add them to that month's calendar page. Over time, it will give you a solid overview of what happened month to month. At the end of the month, create the next month's calendar. The setup is the same as before except for one critical difference. Go through all the pages of the previous month and check your tasks. If it's done, cross it off. If the task is now irrelevant, strike it out. But if it still needs to be done, migrate it into the new month's task list. As you migrate tasks, put a little right arrow in the checkbox to remind you that you've moved the task forward. When you're done setting up your month, be sure to add it to the index. Weeding out your tasks every month can be the difference between being busy and being productive. Sometimes tasks will be related. When this is the case, you can create a collection. To do this, find the next blank page and give your collection an appropriate title with a page number. Find and migrate all related tasks into the list and add the collection to your index. Well, that's it for the basic overview. I hope it's been helpful. If so, please like and share this video. The bullet journal is an ever-evolving system. To check out many more tips and tricks, please visit bulletjournal.com. Thank you for watching.
So if you caught that there, the index is the real key to Abujo, I found out. Because I started doing it and I screwed up on a page, but I've already written on the page and that, so I put junk page 13 is just junk. I mean, because I screwed it up and I had, so it allows you to chronologically keep things in order, know it, just write down the page, but it's interactive, so you spend time with it. As far as my, the legend, if you go to this and watch a few more, the legend, events like I have, give presentation at peer conference, that's an event, and you got your task, and so it, to me, and again, I still use Google Calendar, but to me, and I have sticky notes in there that I'll work on later, that I'm sitting at my desk and I'm writing real fast, but I just pile them all in there, and then, at night or whatever, I go through and do it now.
So I just have a comment, I love the piece with the vacation.
Yes.
Because I think so many times we get caught up in the tasks.
Yes.
We forget self-care, we forget that time out, and that could be the funnest page ever. The vision board of vision or vacation.
You're exactly right. You hit the nail on the head, because you can put that page, if it's on page 15, go to your index and put page 15 vacation, it's always there. And then they have ways to migrate and tasks you didn't complete over and stuff. So I just want to give a kind of a quick overview, but yeah, that's.
I have one more comment.
Yes.
I think this could be awesome, and like you said, you can make it your own.
Yes.
So you could even put an index page for successes.
Absolutely.
Reminds you of, the outcome and the successes too.
Yes,
That's
and that's what it is. And so it's kind of your plan, and your self-care plan, This is what we're going to get into right now is, so you've got the plan, you've got, and you know where you want to go, but you get to a point, you're at this point now sharing information, and this is where we learn the needs of the person we're working with. We're starting to learn the needs, build some trust, and we begin to offer ways and share information with them on, it could be, and we're going to go through Maslow's here in a minute, but it could be, things that they need to get stabilized. First you got to stabilize when you're in recovery. And that was the great thing about Odyssey House. They wasted no time stabilizing you. I mean, the first place we went from where my sister dropped me off, we went for COVID testing first, very first. I mean, I jam that thing. And back then they were running it up to about just short of your eyelid. But anyway, so and that's the first place we went. And then they, in the admissions, they got all the Medicaid, Medicare, whatever you may need while you're there, and they got all that handled. So, and then had I made it through to sober living, they would have paid for the first 3 months and to move me into sober living. But as it worked out, I got ran at University of Utah Hospital. And food's bad though, I wouldn't suggest it. So anyway, so sharing of information, and then so you want to create an autonomy through structure with them with this information sharing, and you want to start by giving them information that's non-stifling. I think it's like overload, information overload. You got to be careful about that. Trying to pack an hour and a half into an hour, that's kind of like information overload. So you want to avoid that. And autonomy is like we talked about, it's the degree in which a peer provides another peer, which we're peer-to-peer with these people, direction and independence to schedule their lives, their work, how they want to determine it. And, but we're guiding them towards success. And then, you want to let the peer be the hierarchy. The peer's going to run at every level here. The peer's going to be responsible that you're working with. You're there just to advocate, not advocating to a judge or, somebody that, they owe money to. You're advocating with them, showing them how to build for themselves. And that's where we get into Maslow's hierarchy of needs. I think a lot of people, you've seen this. And this is really true, because it's like at Odyssey, the first thing that they do is, they handle the physiological needs. We need things: air, food, water, shelter, clothing. I didn't catch that, but that's what we need. This is the basis for life. And so, and then, you start working on them with safety needs: personal security, employment. It's empowering to have a job. It's empowering to get that check every 2 weeks or week. All those things are building the person up. And, the resources, if they need dental, hey, this is how, we can do this. You can't afford it now, well, don't, because a lot of people think I can't afford it. Or eyes, hearing. You ask my family members and friends, it's like, what? If you notice me at Cpss, I had a hearing aid on this side because I had to turn, and because Adolphus kept, when I'm talking. Anyway, so those kind of things, and that's where this Maslow's is really important. Then as things start, the foundation starts building, you're working with them, and they're developing friendships, they're developing intimacy, they're family. With me personally, as you can imagine, being an alcoholic for 40 plus years, and through 4 marriages, and with children I love dearly, but we were estranged. And my daughter and I, we're like 2 peas in a pod. We just are a lot like each other, but we were estranged and for years. And I don't want to get emotional here, but she lives up in Idaho, and she's actually a clinician. She has her own clinic up there, and she works with families who are going through divorce, and she works with the children, and so she's a licensed behavioral psychologist. She's working on her PhD right now up in Idaho. But she came up here. The story she told me, and I don't want to start getting emotional here, but she came up here. She wasn't sure she was going to come up when she got the call that I was in a coma at the hospital, and she said, just one day, Dad, I was sitting, I think it was 5 Mile and Cole Road or Meridian Road in Idaho, and she just said, something just hit me. Just said, go. You need to go see your dad. And she said she came to say her goodbyes because she had talked to the doctors, and so here I sit, and she's in Idaho, and she might even be watching now, I don't know, but we have built a relationship that is just unmatched, and I'm so grateful for her. But anyway, that's the thing, that these are the things that build. I couldn't have I couldn't have done that down here. Things have to develop, and then we start, once these things start developing, then we start feeling good about ourselves. We start our peers that we're working with, and if I slip and say client, I hate that word, but it's, the peers that we're working with, they're starting to feel this. They're starting to feel some self-esteem. Hey, I'm doing this, I'm migrating through this. And then eventually you just get self-actualization. Now they know they can be, I can't even imagine where I'd be today had I went through what I did in the last couple of years. And have had that happen 20 years ago, because it has been life-changing. But it's all, you've heard in AA talk about that moment of clarity. Well, when I was out for 3 weeks, I was having dreams, and I went to some dark places, and I just dreamed for like 3 weeks. I came out and tried to explain these dreams to my kids, family, and friends, and it's like, But anyway, and you just, it's that moment, and you just go. And when I came out of it, I knew what direction I wanted to go. I knew it, and I knew I had to do it. So anyway, that's, and the one thing is, with this empowerment model is, it's not magic. It takes work. It takes time. It just doesn't, it just doesn't happen. I want to leave 10 minutes for that last part. So it just doesn't happen. So just that quickly, and it takes, there's simple steps. You know, we just saw Maslow, simple steps. Peers are going to need help migrating through it. It's simple, but it's essential, and it takes persistence. You cannot quit. Believe me, there's days that I wake up in the morning and I'm, you know, and my daughter, she knows what's been going on here with the business and that, and over the last several months. And some mornings I wake up and I'm going, thanks, I got the problems. I love it. It gives, you know, it seriously, that's the kind of the way I look at it now. It's not, oh, poor me, oh, good. No, it's not. It's, I can overcome this. Hey, look what I've overcome. And that's what I like about that video, is when he said, if you wake up, you're still in the game, and you are. A person is. You know, you just got to, people have to keep that in mind. So quickly, we're going to go through, just kind of, I'm going to skip through this because it'll just, I'm running out of time here. So what does the Cpss do? Well, this is in my mind, and anytime somebody wants to speak up and give me a suggestion to add to it. But what does it do? I think one of the first things, Cpss inspires hope in a person. And we do that through our personal experience. And it's not like, I would highly suggest, there's a book called, it's the 1 minute pitch or 1 minute presentation. I think it's by Ken Blanchard. I can't remember, but it's called an elevator pitch. You can just Google elevator pitch. And it's just, you know, you don't want to bombard somebody with your story. I mean, I could do there's a good chance I could probably do a movie, you know, and I think we all could, because we've gone through things that people don't know. And it's like Ryan was saying, you know, that's our strength. I mean, that's a real big part of our worth as Cpss is our story. And I will advocate that until the day I die, because everybody's a little bit different. But you got to, and we're going to cover some of that in just a moment, but you want to inspire hope in people, and you do that through your experience, strength, and what you've done in your time, in your life to overcome all this. Walk with peers. It's a journey, you know, you're their friend. Well, I think Lisa and Robin, we went over this too. There's a line there, you know, there's a line you can't cross, and you don't want to get too emotionally involved, but yet you want to see the successes. But it's a journey, and again, your story, your personal accomplishments and successes are going to really play well in helping this person along, and you don't have to throw them all out at once. You know, we're going to cover this right now. Listen intently. So I've been in sales, marketing most of my life, and I did spend some time. I owned Intermountain Commercial Interiors up in Idaho, but so I decided I wanted to make more money, and so I went to work for Wyndham Resorts as a vacation ownership salesman. I don't like the timeshare. I don't like that word, but. So some of you may have been to those presentations. So what our goal is, you know, we had a sales meeting at 3:30 every day, Monday through Friday, or Tuesday through Saturday. Saturday we did tours in the morning. We had tours at 4, 6, and 8. Okay, you probably got, hey, come, we'll give you a $50 home gift. You know, come and sit and listen to this guy for 90 minutes. That was the goal. 90 minutes. We had 90 minutes to get $10,000, $15,000 out of somebody's pocket. Okay, and if you're good at it, you know, you're not even really working, but because sometimes there are no tours at 8 o'clock, so you leave at 6 or 6:30, but you make some good money doing this. But the thing of it is, we had a good product, and it wasn't timeshare, it was points. But the last thing that our sales manager would tell us when we went out to start taking tours at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, last thing he said, now remember, you have 2 ears and 1 mouth, use them accordingly. Because that's the key, is listening. Listening to people, and you don't just listen with your ears, you listen with your eyes too. And we talked about this, you guys did well in presenting that at the certification, is that you got to look at body language. I mean, you know, somebody that's sitting here look like this across the table from you and looking at you like this, they're going to, you know, their reception of what you're saying is going to be totally different than somebody that's, you know, looking forward and looking up. And so listening not only is verbal, but it's also visual. And so you got to kind of watch people and to know if you're getting through to them, because you might not. I mean, I go to presentations and stuff, and I look around the room, and you know, I've done presentations before, and I look and I said, God, what am I doing? Of course, I got to tell you something. I feel really good right now because this is the first presentation I've done in a long time that I hadn't had a few of these first. So that to me is, you know, that's a milestone for me. And I'm not even shaking, and I've had nothing but coffee and power drinks this morning. So listen intently. This is a big one. Dispel myths and stigmas. And when I talk about that, people are always going to have people in recovery and with mental illnesses. It's always going to be there because the public isn't isn't totally educated yet. And the nice thing about it is you have actors, you have famous people, you know, coming out. I've got this problem, I've got that problem, and that's good. That's good because it brings awareness to mental health issues, and it brings awareness to addiction and substance abuse issues. You know, but when I look at it and I see somebody, a movie star or something, go to the Malibu rehab center with massage and stuff, go, hey, that's great. But guess what? We're doing the hard work. I mean, this, you know, it's no bed of roses for us. A lot of us have been through just total hell getting to this point. So, but that's, you know, passing that on. They're you know, dispel those myths and stigmas about mental illness and substance abuse. There's probably still people today that go, Burgess, oh my God, you know, you're around him drinking? I used to have my ex-fiance tell me that. She said, do you remember who you were with last night? I no. I don't. So I'm going to share something with you, and I don't even have to look at it. This next slide, I think it's the next slide. Yeah. So, and this is something that really, for me, dispels stigmas in my own heart, because I really, at this point in time, I don't care what people think. You know, I've got a mission. I know what I want to do from this moment forward. So this is something that I picked up. It's scripture. It's spiritual. I'm not religious. I'm spiritual. But it's from the book of Isaiah. And it's forget the past. Do not think about things that happened long ago. Look at what I'm doing for you now. I'm giving you a road through the wilderness, and I'm giving you streams of water there. And so that's, you know, I'm not going to be stuck. I'm not going to let people dictate, and I'm going to help the people that I work with, you know, get over that. Say, you know, people are going to have their opinions, but that's just too damn bad. Let them have the opinions, because we're on a different journey now, and we're on a journey of hope, and we're going to use experience and strength, and we're on a journey to get to that self-actualization in that part. And you know what? That's the thing too. It never ends. That's a continuum. It's a continuum of life. It ends the day that I'm pushing up roses. That's when it stops, or not pushing up roses. I don't know how I'm going to go yet. I'm not sure. So anyway, another thing that we do is we provide, you know, we talked about this, we provide education and resources. You know, I don't have to teach somebody, you know, everything there's about a Bujo. Hey, get online, go look at their, and plus when I've looked at this, there's this girl, I can't remember her name, she suffers from ADHD, and she's got some really good ideas for this Bujo. So the thing of it is, and this is a person, you know, that has mental illness. I mean, you know, I don't, if people, well, a lot of people say, yeah, I knew he had PTSD or something was wrong with him. So anyway, and then continual journey, it's, we're just about going to make it. It's just support, you know, support them. And again, there might be friendships built with peers, from peer to peer. These friendships are strong, and they will develop, because they're being developed on foundations. They're being developed with like-mindedness and mindful people, and you know where you want to go, you know where you want to be, and you know who you can go to for support. That's how these relationships get built, and I can't wait. I mean, I can't wait, because I can forget that past, because I can't wait for what this future brings. So it brings me to this. What's in a story? That's it. It's your power. And hopefully we don't have graphic problems on this one, because this is going to end it right here. And Adolphus was going to try to be here. He couldn't make it. He's up in Ogden with his grandkids and that. And I talked to him last night. And anyway, I wish he'd be here. But we probably won't have time for questions. But anyway, I got to meet this guy in class. And I got to tell this. I wish he was here to hear this story. Well, he'll remember. We talked about it the other day. But I walk in, you know, his first day of Monday morning, walk in, and Adolphus and a couple other people were sitting there. And, you know, it's at the state building downtown. There's 4 chairs. And so I come in, I sit down my briefcase, I look at Adolphus, and I go, "I'm sorry." And he looks at me and goes, "Why are you sorry?" And he's wearing a lantern, you know, with Dallas Cowboys on it. I said, "You're a Cowboy fan." Anyway, we spent the next 40 hours, Monday through Friday, that way, and I got to know the guy, and I'll tell you what, this guy's got a story. And if we have graphic problems, just go home, Google Meet Me Where I Am, and watch it. He told me about it. I watched it the night before you showed it, and I came to Adolphus the next morning. I said, people need to see this. They need to see it. And I've been putting this out, I marked the views when I first told him that, and I've sent this to people. I've sent it to people in Idaho, and they needed to see it. And by the way, it's going to be at Sundance Film Festival this year. So, yeah. It's got great production value, and I think you'll like it.
I just love my grandkids. That's my heart, man. That's the best love, man, you know, in the world. I don't have to look outside them to find comfort. My comfort's right there with my family. It's like a gift given back to me, you know what I'm saying? But I've come a long way. My struggles was bad. It was the same repeated thing over and over and over again. Getting high, running the streets, prison, jails, just being a knucklehead. You think it's gonna be different, but it's never different. It always come back to be the same.
My dad has been in and out of my life from infancy. That's kind of how I know my dad. When he was there, he wasn't a nice guy.
I didn't know how to be a dad, you understand? I knew I had to make big change. All right. How you doing?
Good, how you doing? We're the IOC, also known as the Intensive Outpatient Clinic. There's only 8 of us. We're very collaborative and work together as a team.
Thank you, everybody, for getting here. Okay, so as far as patient needs follow-up, so Ahmed is hospitalized, Crystal is still hospitalized, Latino discharged. Diane, we think, may be discharged. Population health is an approach to medical care where you really focus on the needs and outcomes of one particular patient population. We care for patients who have been economically or socially marginalized.
These are high risk and high needs, underserved patients. Many of them come with significant history of addiction, either past or present. How was your day going so far?
At first, I didn't want to hear nothing that they were telling me, man. You know, I wanted to go get high. That was a way to escape. You know, I'm covering something that I didn't want to face.
People who we treat have faced incredible adversity, things like trauma, depression, anxiety.
We are all here.
Welcome, everyone.
Homelessness, physical abuse, emotional abuse, sexual abuse that dates back to childhood.
Trauma changes the brain chemistry of a child and will change their physiology for potentially the rest of their lives.
You have to tune out, you have to shut down, you have to figure out a way to get through that.
My mom she was sweet, dude. I know that for a fact, you know. She's a good lady. When I was 5 years old, they took her to the hospital. She died from sickle cell anemia. And I had brought home this little planner for her, but she never got it, you know, so. My dad was a hard-working man, you know what I'm saying? He had his own business when he was here, and he passed away when I was 8 years old. He passed away from asthma, which I got through. Me, my 3 sisters, we just bottled it up, you know, well, I bottled it up. There was times I just wanted to be loved. I just wanted to be around people, you know what I'm saying?
Trauma-informed care is the idea of asking what happened to you instead of what's wrong with you.
That really means understanding the context of their lived experience.
My grandmother, you know, she took us in and she raised us. But we moved to the Glendale area, and it's me and my little sister, and we was the only blacks in the school. Back then, it was pretty hard. There was a lot of people that didn't care for black people. There was a lot of fights, there was a lot of arguments, called to the principal's office, fighting with teachers, getting kicked out of school. Didn't graduate. From there on out, I just stayed, man, like in the streets, just hustling and getting high.
They've developed these ways to cope and manage, but that can really, in the long run, impact their health. To survive and persevere in spite of all of that. What incredible strength Adolphus has.
Our key to taking care of these patients is longevity. We need to have a long time with these patients to really build relationships that will be effective.
I don't walk into a room with a 10-minute time limit to say, okay, let's talk about this and that, and are you doing this, are you doing that? I can walk into a room and say, how are you today? So we checked your thyroid yesterday, labs were good.
Yay,
so
finally.
Yep.
I know I can go to them and get help in any kind of guidance, health, medications, therapy, my housing.
You're doing it. I mean, we did your housing recertification in May, so you're set there.
What we have that's different than other traditional primary care offices is that we all sit there in that same room with the social workers, with the case manager, with the assistants, with the medical team.
What are they saying? What are their goals?
Things like losing weight, eating healthier, quitting smoking is a big one. I love that I can finish a therapy visit and they're queued up to see their doctor, and I can say, you know, the patient was saying that they had some confusion about their medication. And I can just say, hey, Dr. Bank, do you mind checking with the patient about this?
A lot of our patients have never known anything different than going to the emergency room for their medical care.
They just use the ER, we say, as their primary care. Call 911, get an ambulance, I'll get taken care of.
And that saturates the emergency department. That costs more than it would in a primary care visit.
When I was out in the streets, running and doing my thing, I went to the ER every week, but different hospitals. I just got tired of suffering. I wanted to live. I didn't want to die.
A lot of our patients have never had anybody notice them or care.
All right, Elisa, your high from the last week?
My high is I'm here.
It feels overwhelming at times to really have the realization of where some of our patients came from, but it also feels very inspiring to be able to have a hand in helping them change course.
You've come a long way since you and I have been working together.
Oh, hell yeah. I think my support team is the best, dude. They're like my family.
Adolphus is the one that made these changes. And sure, he gives us the credit, but it's Adolphus that made the decisions.
Being a part of an environment in which patients feel seen and heard, knowing that the relationship that I build with a patient really matters. I feel very lucky that I work in a place that honors and provides opportunity for that.
I have time with my patients. I can sit, I can get to know them. I am allowed everything I need to be able to really make a difference in their lives. And so the personal satisfaction that I have from that is so much higher than I've had at any other point in my career.
I feel supported here, and I don't think we could do the work that we do if we didn't know and trust each other. I couldn't imagine working anywhere else. This job is exceptionally hard and exceptionally rewarding.
We created this web of gratitude. I know, you love it.
I'm gonna start to cry.
And then
This model is a win-win-win. It's a win for the health plan, it's a win for the patients, and it's a win for the providers who give the care.
Oh, what's happening, boy? I'm gonna put it like this. I'm 61. It took like 30 years for me to be clean and sober, and now I've been clean going on 5 years. I ain't been in prison since about 2011. I got out, I haven't been back. But it's time to get up off these streets, man. My health has changed for the best. How you doing? Say, man, where everybody at, man? Because I used to be out here.
Adolphus would be perfect for a mentoring position of like a peer mentorship.
You've been out here for a while, man. When you gonna quit this shit?
Being able to have him do that in a more official capacity would be awesome.
It's been a long journey for us, and it wasn't overnight. It's took some time. Honestly, I'm really proud. I'm proud of him. And I love him. You know, I really do.
I am so blessed where I'm at right now. I'm not afraid to be successful in life. The main thing I want is to be the best grandfather I could ever be. I think, man, you know, my life now is tremendous. I love it, you know.